Hello out there. This is the first video for a new project. Um, Working title is Sister-in-Law, but I think it's likely I'm going to keep that. I think that'll be the real title. This is page. What did I say? This is going to be page 10. Um, I've set up an image here. No, I've already. Oops. Um, think it's in previous videos for previous stories. I've once or twice mentioned that the naming convention for each of these individual images basically depends on the story. So with this one, I'm numbering them based on his size. So the first, the character started off as at 6'1", so the images in the first 9 pages started off with 73, and now after the first use of her little device thing, he's 67 inches. So these images get the name 67 dash, and then whatever the sequence is. Let's take a word bubble. Control C on that one, and Control Edit Paste as new layer. I think one change I made a few stories ago, I think it might have been with Burn Pit, is I was using pure white word bubbles. In the first 24 stories or whatever, first 24. And I think with Burn Pit, I altered the color of the word bubble to just slightly off white. Let's see, yeah. Well, I don't know if you can see it on the YouTube video. So if I go to 255, the RGB pure white is 255 across the board. So here we are, 254, 46, and 30. It's just slightly off. Actually, I'm going to turn that back to black. See, so white is RGB of 255, black is 0. I don't know why I've stuck with it. I've kind of liked it, so I've been sticking with it. And let me get my mind focused on what she's going to say now. Oops. Shoot. Okay. Okay, how do I... Okay, this is interesting. Add tab. There we go. Okay. I don't know what happened there. Oops, and I got a caps lock this. Okay. So I think, well, this is going to be a gradual shrink story. I think the steps are going to be 6 inches at a time, which is going to be, well, probably be 11 steps. I think if you've kind of watched the videos for stories like the Shrimp of the House Xmas special, where I do the characters around 6 inches, you've probably seen that I kind of don't really um, like working that small. So I'm probably not going to go down to 1 inch. Well, I'm probably I'm not going to go down to 1 inch. Um, oh my gosh, what? I hate when I get these ones that don't play nice. Um, oh well. Yeah, actually, that's not bad. Let's stick with that. So, one thing about this, one thing about this one is it is another slow project. So far, I'm only getting 2 pages a day done. I think with Burn Pit, it was as low as 3. This one is 2, which is strange because so far I haven't. I've been a lot. So far, I've been focused on this one. I haven't been distracted. Well, I can't say that, but I mean, I've been focused on it. I'll leave it at that. Um, it's the, it's there's kind of like a couple of issues going on. This one, it's a slow. Um, I've got slow render times going here, so I'll probably be cutting, trimming this video as I go. But it's because the hair, um, it's the hair is taking a long time to render. So, um, I'm dealing with long render times here on these images, which it's hard to say because it doesn't feel like it's as slow as Burn Pit was, although I think this picture will be. A couple of pages back, I did one of those large size pictures, which did take probably about an hour and a half. But, when I was doing those sizes for Burn Pit, they were taking upwards of 2 hours. So I don't know, so like in respects to the rendering time, I'm not sure why this project is going slower as far as that. But um, I think outside of that, I've been I've been doing a lot of modification as I've been going on this project. So I think when I kind of I think when I kind of like started the first page, I wasn't really expecting, or no, I don't know, expecting. I didn't really plan to make this this remodeled bedroom part of the story. So I kind of, it's one of those where I ended up having to break the story, having to break progress on the story to create this half finished bedroom. um, Having to, I think creating the 2x4 framework on the walls, the sort of the drywall pieces, and even then when I created that, I got to this scene here, and the lack of the nails bothered me, so I had to break again to put these nails in. Yeah, see, now that I'm kind of past the hair, it's going quickly. Okay, so save. File, open as layers. And I gotta be careful here. No, not here. So when I, kind of going forward on this, I've got to be careful which pages I choose to film for you guys, because I've decided that this is going to be X-rated at times and can't exactly violate terms of services. So don't want to get banned on YouTube. So let's go new layer. Oops. Outside the box. So it's besides waiting on these rendering times, I've been having to break to continually work on this set. And then, it's the holidays too, so I'm kind of having to take time to deal with that. Let's see. Shrink. Whoops. What am I doing? Okay. Okay, there I go. Talking to you guys and not paying attention. Well, let's see. So a couple of the other things about this project is I know I've mentioned it before, but generally, I guess I should start this from the beginning, just in case you haven't been following. But um, if you decide to, if you get if you grab Daz Studios and play around with this yourself, you probably know that they've got different generations of figures. Okay, I'm gonna have to remove this wall. So let's go to Tools, Geometry Editor. Let's close these down. I gotta find a structure, basement. Let's grab the basement prop. Oops, I don't need. Right click, visibility, hide. Oops. Select this side. Visibility. Hide. Oh, shoot. Okay, oh, shoot. I'm going to have to do this again. Visibility. Hide. I'm already hiding a chunk of. So because, so it's. I should just delete the closet walls, but because I'm expecting to have this bedroom finished to a certain degree, it's possible that the closet is finished. Um, so I don't want to delete the polygons and then. Well, you know what? Let's remove this beam too. Frame. Oh, I'm already out of. I gotta go back into geometry editor. Okay, so I'm gonna grab these, go right click, selection, select connected, and that'll just do those two beams. We're gonna hide those beams like that. See, and now I can shoot. Oops, I gotta go. So, anyways, like normally up till now, I've been working with the Genesis 1 figures. Skins. But, I think lately I've been picking up a lot of characters and textures for the other figures, Genesis 2, 3, and 8. So these characters, the characters in this story, the adult characters are Genesis 3 figures, and Toby the baby is a Genesis 8 figure. So it's partially this story is sort of an experiment into I'm kind of like experimenting with it's partially an experiment with the characters to sort of get familiarity. Okay. So I don't quite have the ease of the I'm not quite as comfortable working with these figures as I've been in the past. So partially there, so this story has a bit of a learning curve with the figures as well. So now into that. Another thing I was playing with. Okay, there we go. Another thing I'm playing with. I think I did it with. Well, I might have done it with the house constructed for the story roommates. But what I'm experimenting with is trying to make these rooms a little smaller, a little more realistic. Um, what am I doing? Trying to make it so that I don't have quite so much space to decorate because the room is bigger than it needs to be. With this house too, I wanted something a little more, maybe claustrophobic might be the right word. So where normally, I think every time I put together a building, the ceilings are always 10 feet high. In this one, I went 8 feet instead, um, both the basement and the main floor. And these rooms, where normally I'll go either 25 by 25 or 30 by 30. And I think even that I've been opting for the 25, the smaller size. It's in order to have room for the camera to work, but it leaves me a lot of space to decorate. And frankly, in a bedroom, it almost becomes a full apartment, just trying to fill all the space to keep it interesting, make it look like they don't live in a cavern. So with this one, I think these rooms have, like this bedroom, for instance, isn't even 20 by 20. So the consequence is, like you see, I have to take out the walls in order to get a shot. Sometimes I have to take out the walls in order to get a shot. And the problem is when you take out the walls, it messes with the lighting. Yeah, it changes the lighting, which I don't think you're noticing too much here. Oh wow, this one is in 5 minutes. Yeah, if you look closely, there it is. There's it paused on the hair because the hair takes longer for it to render than there it goes. Now it's going. Let's see if you look, there it is. It's going across and then it hits the hair and pauses because it's slow. But I think this is a good place to snip it and come back when I've got the completed picture. Okay, so I've saved the picture and let's open it. 34. let's see, we want to cut that. So one of the challenges I'm going to be facing with this is I don't want what is her name, Val? I don't want Val here to um, come across as being too bad. So, as this goes forward and he gets smaller, the idea is that, while she'll get a little flirty and touchy feely and, get a little grabby, um, the plan is that she won't, um, is that she won't take advantage of him when he gets small enough that he couldn't resist if he wanted. Let's see. Let's collapse all. For the time being, I'll park her in clothes since I'm kind of done with her. And I've got to put all this stuff back on. So where are we? Basement. This is frame. So I got to come into geometry editor. I'll right click, visibility, show all. That'll put the frame back on. Then I got to come over here to basement. I don't want to show all, so what I'm going to do is visibility, invert hidden, and hide, visibility, hide. The other possibility, if I wanted to make this easy, is I could just give each of these sections of wall their own surface, and then just come in here and use the opacity slider to turn them on and off. But I really don't want to overcomplicate the surface slider, so now I'm going to invert. And that'll make this wall visible while keeping that closet wall invisible. So I need to go you. And the other thing too is I don't want to, story wise, I don't want this to get too blown out of proportion. So like realistically, he should be chasing after her furiously, but I really don't want the story to be um, Oh, what do I want to say? I don't want I don't want the story to be explosive or violent or whatever. Am I looking for? So, hmm. What am I looking for? This is number 4, right? Okay. If she thinks I'm going to. Um, how about you? Control C. I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna swap boxes here. Um, and something kind of. I'm trying to do this. It's yeah. I guess I'm trying to do this story without sort of narrative text boxes. See how it goes. But it's I'm already thinking in the back of my head that I'm probably going to have to go back and throw them in order to mark the transitions from scene to scene. Um, Save. That's what I wanted to do. Because it does. It's. I think without it, it does feel like it jumps unexpectedly. I'm almost wondering if like the time/scene jumps is a little too jarring for the reader. So I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head at the end of the day that I'm going to have to go back and sort of use that third person narrative voice just to provide some transition between scenes. I think the biggest one that comes to my mind is when like they're having sex and the baby cries and he goes to take care of it and then it cuts right, and then it's like it cuts right to this basement scene where like logically, at least in the back of my mind, I'm sort of like expecting the next scene to be in the baby's room, seeing what the baby wants, but that's not relevant to the story. So, you know. And I guess as far as what I'm looking for with this story, structure wise and lengthwise, is I think if she uses the device on him 11 times and he gets as small as 7 inches, then that provides sort of 12 distinct pieces, if you will. So what I'm planning on, and it's not going to be perfect, but the idea that um, is that this ends up being sort of like 100 page, a 4 part story, and each part involves 3 stages, which will average out to about 8 pages per stage. And again, it won't be, it might, that's what I'm thinking now. It could change, but it won't, it doesn't it won't necessarily split perfect like that. So there might be some stages where that go a little longer than 8 pages and other stages that are shorter than 8 pages. I think especially sort of around the middle. Um, but I think structurally so I think structurally that's how it's going to roughly work out. So here we are in the middle third of the book, going into the second stage, him at 67 inches, and then in approximately 6 pages or so, he'll get zapped again and go down to 61 inches. It's sort of like with sort of these kind of stories, I sort of enjoy the process, the graduation, the transformation. But from the point of view of as the creator, that middle section of the transition isn't as interesting as the beginning, these first 2 or 3 stages, or maybe even 4, and then the later ones. Because it's always the idea, because it's like, I guess from the creation standpoint, is sort of that it's the transition. It's sort of the transition from going from the biggest character to being the smallest provides, is keeps it interesting. These early stages where it's like, where it's like he's got a face that he's no longer taller than his wife, that he's smaller than he gets smaller than his wife, or um, I think one scene I set up is, when it starts moving to where he won't be able to reach the stuff in the cabinets, that sort of thing. But then when and then it's like towards the end where it's he moves out of the realm of people and becomes small enough to start interacting with smaller objects. That sort of becomes a creative interest, but it's sort of the middle. It's sort of like that middle third from the creative point of view isn't really that interesting, because once he becomes once he started becomes too small to interact with most of the environment, um, the next stage doesn't really change that aspect too much. It's like there becomes a point where, like, once he can no longer reach cabinets or shelves or or the doorknobs, then it's like each stage after that doesn't really matter too much, because he's already moved beyond it. And even so, and two, it's like, um, even when you get to the sexual scenes, you can only remark on how big his wife looks at this new size before it gets old. Before before you become just rehashing. Oh, your breasts look even bigger than last time, when they already looked bigger than the time before that. It's like, that's why for a while it's that middle stage, like, from the creative point. Oh, good lord, I guess I could have used that one. Okay, let's cut it here. From the creative point of view, there's not much more and then once he gets down to probably the last third, once he starts getting as small as the baby, that's when you end up with a new dynamic, a new a whole new set of things to explore. Um, that's probably why these earlier stages will probably go longer than 8 pages a stage, so that when you get to that middle, I can kind of move through it quickly until you get down to the smaller stages. Let's see, what do I go select? Okay. Oh shit! What did I do? I hit the wrong. I marked it. Let's see. Actually, maybe. Yeah, that'll work. Just a little. Okay. And then here, is this 90? Yep. And then here's sort of where the lack of familiarity with the characters, with these figures, kind of moves into play. Actually, let's twist him off a little bit. Okay. So it's the idea is I want to set it up. Oops. Zooming out. What I want to do is set up him hammering the next nail. And actually, I have to. Uh, oh, well, I gotta go this way, I think. Right? Yeah, that's what we want to do. And then I can move the nail. To where it needs to go. Oops. Okay. So this is just trial and error. Let's see. Side to side. Yeah. I don't like the camera angle, so instead of ruining it, let's go. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to render this. And since there's no text, I'm going to pause and come back when this picture is done. Okay, so that's a passable pose. We'll save that, bring it in. And I don't know, I don't know what it is about this unfinished bedroom, but it's just like doing these wide scenes more so than anywhere else. Edit, paste this. Merge that down. Okay, so right click, collapse all. No, I didn't want her. So, unparent. So close. Fit to Joe. I'm gonna put on her waitress outfit. And hopefully everything fits right. Fit to. Fit to none. And park these. Let's go expand from selected. I'm just gonna select everything and delete the keys. Delete the keys. Control D will bring her to the floor. And let's just move her. Oh, I've got to put this guy in the clothes. Oh my god, okay. Let's put the furniture on in the main room. for it. Still waiting. And waiting a little longer. Good lord. Still waiting. Oh my god. There can't be that much stuff on this first floor. Yep. Also, what I've got to do is put the backgrounds on. Unlike previous projects where I sort of created the outdoor environment for something to look through out the windows and out the doors. Um, this one, well, no, I didn't. I've done this before, but in this one, instead of the outdoor environment, I've sort of rendered. I've rendered images of an outdoor environment, blurred it, and then put it on a plane outside the window, so that there'd be less to render. And actually, I have done this before. In was it Teddy Bear? Okay, so we've had to. I'll have to snip a little here because, as you can see, the breasts poke through thanks to the smoothing. So I had to turn the breasts off so that they won't show. Trying to grab the shoulder. What do we want? Mouth open. Okay, so also, let's take my background. Main. Might have to put the other one on secondary. No. Okay, so secondary Let's move it out of the way. Let's move it over there. Okay. And now, what is going on with the table? I guess it's just. Okay, I already have this one. Uh, let's split that. There we go. Okay. One thing I always hate to do from the creative point of side here, at least with this, is dealing with clothing. That's why most of the time, whatever the shrinking process is, will usually involve the clothes shrinking with them, or I'll sort of just gloss over the issue. unless it's unless it's one of the patron only projects where the characters can go full nude and don't even have to worry about clothing. So what I'm going to, what I'm got to look at and attempt is to see if I can use the D-Force engine. Oh, and I'm going to have to. Oops, I've got a foot. Okay, so hold on. To see if I can use the D-Force engine to make his shirt fit, which I have a feeling I won't be able to. I don't think that shirt will D-Force. Okay. And let's see the. That might be it. Let's try that again. best at you. Okay, let me go to the desktop and I'm going to open up, hopefully, open up another version of DAZ. And I'm going to mess with him to see if I'm going to do a test run to see if I can deforce that shirt. Okay, and this looks like it's going to work. So since this is going to be one giant waiting game, I'm going to cut out here. Okay, I got a picture here. Save this. And surprisingly, the shirt deforced nicely, so I saved the shirt by itself. Frank. Control D to bring him up to the first floor. What I am going to do is, let's see. I think I am just going to delete the hammer. Let's grab the hand and find the nail, and I'll just delete the nail. Let's go expand from selected. Grab all these, delete the what did I do? Delete keys, there we go. Okay, so this always gets annoying. This is why I don't like using sort of the available poses. Because every time I... What the heck? Okay, this is bizarre. Okay, so... okay, every time I use the sort of pre-made poses, it basically deletes my keys. And for some reason, come on, grab him. There we go. For some reason, his scale should be at 1. And then if I go to 1, yeah, I have no idea why his scale is messed up at frame 0. So, he's got a rotation. So let's find him. There we go. Now let's hope this works. What I'm going to do is I deforced the shirt and saved it. There we go. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Okay, so I guess there's no morph to widen the waist. So let's go hidden properties. Oh. And this is probably a waste of time since I don't think I'm going to be seeing it. Is this negative 90? Yes. Let's take these off. Ugh. There we go. Let's see. Scale him down. Oh, shoot. I got the wrong. Well, and now we just have to adjust. Let's see. I'll have to adjust the arms. On the shirt. I think. That is the right color. The shoulder and interesting. Right shoulder. Let's go hidden. Oh wow, this is a mess. Let's see. I guess I'm gonna have to widen abdomen. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. There we go. Smoothing modifier should take care of. Actually, you know what? Let's take the okay, we're getting there. uh, oh, let's collapse all. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of going quiet here. Uh, there you are. Let's see. So the other consequence of using different figures is normally I have properties under head favorited, but it's sort of where I've got a different collection of properties. not exactly sure what I want to favorite, so there we go. So I just put up with scrolling through the entire list of properties. When it's side to side, where's I? Side to side. Hmm. And I think put some room at the top of the image to put the word bubble up there. Okay. And then I've got this one to do. Open as layers. Scale 34. I could have come down here. I mean, I could make this smaller. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to make this a small panel and make the other one a little extra wide, since it doesn't really matter. How about there? So I think let's turn you off for a minute. Okay, just bring this line out so I can see what I'm doing. It's going to come down. Okay. So I think this story is going to include a scene that I wanted to do in Roommates. But the problem with Roommates is I was extremely uncomfortable with it. Layered image size. No, I need to be on this one. It's the idea. It's I'm not sure how much of a spoiler this is going to be, so if you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to tune out here because I'm sure there's probably not going to be much coming after this. Um, but basically, when I was doing Roommates, it was like invert, shrink. I wanted to do a scene of with a little bit of foot play. Um, but the problem, yes, but the problem is, I think with Roommates there was really no way I could. There was really no way I could sort of work the scene so that it wasn't rape, and that made me extremely uncomfortable, and not in a good way. um, so I ended up not doing the particular scene I wanted. But in sort of thinking this one through, I could easily work that scene in here, in this story. Ah, shoot. I could easily work that scene in here and have the foot play between these two without it coming across as rape. And I think you'll see what I mean when you read the story. when you're reading this part, there was just no way just like in my head, there was no way I could pull it off in Roommates without it being rapey. But with these two, like, Frank can be surprised when she starts playing with him with her foot, so to speak, but not be repulsed, not like immediately say don't do that. Just be like, huh, what are you doing? Oh, I kind of like this. That kind of way. Um, and I have a feeling, going off on a tangent here, I have a feeling I'm going to be redoing this picture. So I'm going to cut out here, fix the issue I'm already seeing, and re-render this picture. And I'll come back and show you the last little bit when here is the last picture for the page. We will save this one. Open. Scale it to 34. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, this works. Oops. Cut it just a little too much. There we go. Cut that. Select invert, shrink, invert, edit. And my border. Merge that down. Now, where are we? Actually, let's crop this down just a little bit. Layer, crop to selection. And I put the space up here so that I can put the word bubble up here. So let's put the word bubble up here. Oh, it's going to come up. There we go. This page kind of violates my preference to sort of beginning and ending scenes at page breaks, but it's not unusual to have it cut here. Save that image, flatten, and then we will export, hit enter. There we go. Oh my god. And there's my collection of videos for this part. Page 10. Not that much, Frank, only 6 inches, just enough to get you thinking. And don't think about taking my gun and trying to use it yourself. You don't know how to use it, and I wouldn't want you to make yourself even smaller. If she thinks I'm going to come crawling to her, then she better think again. Oops, look at that. Honey, I'm home. Oh, here you are. So I'm going to make a couple of changes to the texts. Control Z will undo this. There needs to be two T's. I think this one. This, instead of an and, this needs to be but. Oops. Yeah, okay, but don't think about taking my gun. Here we go. Just enough to get you thinking. Oops, this little bubble looks like it's gotta be. It's not centered. There we go. Oh, not that much, Frank. Only 6 inches. Just enough to get you thinking. But don't think about taking my gun and trying to use it yourself. You don't know how to use it. Wouldn't want you to make yourself even smaller. That's it. Okay, so we will go File, Save Image, Flatten, and File. Export to. And that was page 10. I want to thank you for all for tuning in, supporting the work, and I will see you next time.